She was a neonatal nurse, trusted by parents, admired by colleagues, smiling in selfies beside tiny premature babies fighting for their lives. But behind the hospital curtains, something unthinkable was happening. Healthy babies were suddenly collapsing, breathing tubes dislodged, air injected into tiny veins, insulin appearing in bloodstreams where it should never be. And at the center of it all, one nurse. This is the chilling story of Lucy Letby, the British nurse convicted of murdering babies in her care. In modern medical history, few cases have shaken public trust like this one. In 2023, the world watched as a jury found Lucy Letby guilty of murdering multiple infants at the Countess of Chester Hospital NHS Foundation Trust. But how does someone entrusted with saving lives become responsible for ending them? Tonight, we go deep into her background, the mysterious spike in infant deaths, the warning signs what investigators uncovered, and how she was finally caught. This is not just a crime story. It's a story about trust, denial, and the fragility of life. Lucy Letby was born in 1990 in Hereford, England. By most accounts, she had a stable upbringing. She was an only child. Her parents were protective, attentive, and supportive. Friends described her as quiet, studious, and ambitious. She volunteered at her local hospital as a teenager and later studied nursing at the University of Chester. She chose neonatal nursing, one of the most emotionally demanding areas of medicine. Caring for premature and critically ill newborns requires compassion, resilience, and precision. But some former classmates described her as someone who craved approval. She wanted recognition. She wanted to be seen as exceptional. During the investigation, text messages later revealed she often spoke about feeling isolated, wanting attention, feeling undervalued by hospital management. Some experts believe her psychological struggles may have played a role, though no single traumatic childhood event has been publicly identified as a trigger. This makes the case even more disturbing. There was no obvious monster origin story. Between 2015 and 2016, something alarming began happening at the neonatal unit at the Countess of Chester Hospital NHS Foundation Trust. Babies were collapsing unexpectedly, not just the extremely premature ones, but stable infants who had been improving. Doctors noticed patterns: sudden oxygen drops, unexplained bleeding, air embolisms, insulin poisonings, and one chilling common factor: Lucy Letby was on duty. Initially, hospital leadership dismissed concerns. Doctors who raised alarms were reportedly told to apologize to her. At one point, Letby was even moved to administrative duties, but later returned to the neonatal ward. The deaths continued. Police were eventually called in 2017. Detectives launched one of the largest child murder investigations in modern British history. They reviewed thousands of medical records, shift patterns, text messages, handwritten notes. During a search of her home, police found disturbing evidence. Among the items discovered were handwritten notes. One note read, "I am evil, I did this." Another said, "I killed them on purpose because I'm not good enough." She also kept sympathy cards sent to grieving parents in a keepsake box. Prosecutors argued that Letby deliberately injected air into babies' bloodstreams, overfed infants with milk, poisoned babies with insulin, interfered with breathing tubes, all while appearing calm and professional. The motive? Prosecutors suggested she craved attention, especially the sympathy and emotional drama that followed medical emergencies. Each collapse brought urgency. Each crisis brought doctors rushing in. Each death placed her at the center of tragedy. In 2022, the trial began in Manchester Crown Court. It lasted nearly 10 months. Parents gave devastating testimony. Medical experts described unnatural patterns of death. Colleagues explained their suspicions. Letby denied everything. She claimed the hospital was understaffed, the unit was struggling. Doctors were scapegoating her to cover systemic failures. The defense argued that poor hospital conditions, not murder, caused the deaths. But the prosecution presented overwhelming circumstantial evidence. She was present at every suspicious collapse. Insulin poisonings occurred only when she was on shift. Babies improved when she was off duty. In August 2023, the jury delivered its verdict: guilty. She was convicted of murdering 7 babies and attempting to murder several others. The judge described her actions as cruel, calculated, and cynical. She was sentenced to whole life imprisonment, meaning she will never be released. She refused to attend her sentencing. Unlike many serial killers, there was no financial motive, no sexual motive, no clear ideological belief. Psychologists analyzing the case have suggested possible factors: a need for control, attention-seeking behavior, Munchausen by proxy-like tendencies, a desire to be seen as heroic during resuscitations. But the truth may be more complex. Some believe she created crises to feel indispensable. Others argue she enjoyed the emotional chaos. What makes the case haunting is that she blended in perfectly. Smiling photos, holiday snapshots, normal conversations. No one expects the caregiver to be the threat. She wasn't caught because of one mistake. She was caught because patterns don't lie. Doctors persisted, police tracked shift data, medical science revealed impossible insulin levels, and eventually the evidence formed a web too tight to escape. Her own handwritten words became symbolic of the case. "I am evil." Whether it was a confession or emotional turmoil, the jury decided. This case changed hospital oversight across the UK. It shattered trust. It forced medical systems to re-examine how concerns are handled, and it left families forever grieving. The story of Lucy Letby reminds us of something deeply unsettling. Sometimes evil doesn't look dangerous. Sometimes it wears scrubs and offers reassurance. If you found this breakdown informative, subscribe for more deep investigative stories, because sometimes the most terrifying crimes happen in the places we feel safest.